All right, ladies, I'm going to be breaking down the layered haircut that it seems a lot of hairstylists can't do. And this is something that in my, I would say 30 plus years of experience, have realized this is probably one of the most difficult haircuts to do as a hair professional because it's so precise, it's really short, there's a lot going on to it. And I'm gonna help you understand maybe why you're not getting this haircut. Now, the biggest reason that people reach out to me, and I literally get phone calls on a weekly basis, messages, emails, Salon Guy, nobody can cut hair like this, and I've been to 9 different hairstylists, and why can't anyone understand layers? Or I had a girl who did my hair for 25 years and then retired, and nobody knows how to cut haircut like this. They're all, new young stylists, and it's just a lot of these stories that I'm like, wow, this is really, really interesting. So a lot of it comes down to years of experience with a haircut like this. Meaning, like a lot of people are mentioning, oh, I had a stylist who's been cutting my hair for 25, 30 years and they retired or they left or something happened and no one can cut hair like them anymore. Well, that happens when you switch to somebody new, all right? It's like going to a doctor, the same dentist, the same this, the same that for 20, 30 years. They know your hair inside out and they perfected what they do. You may have to give someone a chance, it may take 1 or 2 times, but there's also a difference of somebody butchering your hair right off the bat on the first appointment or the first haircut and like never going to them again because they did screw it up or don't know what they're doing, or like, oh, it's kind of close, you go back in and you work it out and then everything's fine. This haircut, this shorter layered haircut is really the key to this, and it's, I hate to say fairly simple, is that everything is cut straight out from the head. All right, I don't cut this in a square or boxy shape. And when I say square, a square haircut shape is very boxy. It's like this, the corners are kept, and it just is like a box on your head. That works great for certain face shapes. However, this classic layered haircut, right, with the feathered layers, the reason it's able to feather like this is that it's all very, very symmetrical and balanced. Everything is pulled straight out from the head. And that's just the way I cut hair. The reason is that hair grows straight out from the head. And even like down here, it'll grow downwards and grow out and up. And here on the top point of the head is probably the only place it grows straight up. So the hair is growing out from the head. If you want to have a very, very balanced type of haircut shape, everything needs to be cut in that way. If it's cut in a different way, or the hairstylist is not keeping it very, very simple and very, I don't want to even say basic, but keeping it very balanced, then your haircut is not going to have this nice flow to it. It's not going to have this shape. Plain and simple. The next thing is the length. Sometimes hair professionals, especially on women who are getting shorter hair like this, they may be intimidated by going a bit shorter. You, as a client, have to tell them, hey, look, this is typically how I cut my hair. You can hold your hair up and say, typically it's like, this long around everything, and I like to see it kind of just feather back and have a nice flow to it, something a very balanced, symmetrical haircut. No crazy shapes or anything. I want to have everything just have a nice balanced haircut where I can just kind of brush this back and all the layers flow, and you can see the layers. You can see the feathered part in here. That's all it is. Feathering is a cosmetic name for having good layers. If you have good layers in your haircut, it's going to naturally feather, or AKA flow. I've been talking about this for years, and now everybody's, kind of trying to capitalize on the word flow when I've been saying that and doing that for probably 15 years, all right? So all of these cosmetic terms are important because that's what you can say to the stylist. I want my hair to be feathered. I want my hair to this. I want my hair to that. And then it's up to the professional to be able to execute that. If you are having a difficult time, this is the next important part of this. If you're having a very difficult time finding someone to be able to cut hairstyles like this, what you need to do is call the salon that you're interested in going to. Maybe, like you said, you've been going to someone for a long time and they left. Whatever your situation is, or you're going to a new place, what you need to do is you need to actually call the salon and say, listen, I've been getting my hair cut for, from the same person for 30 years. I'm 70 years old or I'm 50 years old, whatever it is. And I need somebody who's a bit more experienced, who knows how to do feathered haircuts, like shorter women's haircuts where the hair is feathered back and it's pretty short on top. Like somebody who's got experience and who's been doing hair for a very, very long time, who's used to doing maybe older hairstyles. I know you don't want to hear that, oh, it's an older hairstyle. But yes, this is a classic, you can even say classic haircut. Unfortunately, the front desk person, they might not even know what the heck a feathered haircut is. But you say something, something a bit more classic, kind of an older hairstyle where it's nice and short and feathered and layered, and it's like a short haircut on women's hair. Just be as simple as possible. That receptionist then needs to, it's up to them to connect you and book you an appointment with that stylist who is familiar with this type of stuff. Then when you go in, you can say, I was recommended to you by the receptionist that you're very comfortable and familiar with doing shorter layered haircuts to where the hair is kind of like a feathered hairstyle, right? You can even mention like Princess Diana, a shorter Princess Diana, or whatever person you want to refer to, or show photographs. But just say that you want to have a balanced, even haircut. Everything is cut basically 90 degrees or a rounded shape out from the head, and it's just a very simple, symmetrical haircut that when you run your fingers through it like this and you brush it back, you're going to be able to see these pieces like this. And now, here's the other flip side of this. You can have this hairstyle cut shorter here, but then longer here. That's where the whole shape and technique comes in. Because yes, it can be cut straight out from the head, but then if you're elevating slightly, or the stylist is doing things to leave things longer in certain areas, now we're talking about the actual technique of the haircut to have a very, very specific look. If you want to have length down through here, then you can say, I want to keep some length into here, a little longer down here, shorter on top to where everything flows and blends in to this point. Anytime you say something like, I want everything to flow into this, I want everything to flow into the back where it's a little fuller and longer. A lot of times people blame the stylist, oh, I haven't, no one can cut hair like you, salon guy, and I can't find anybody, and blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe it's, I hate to say it, if you've been to 14 hairstylists in the last month and not one of them can give you a good haircut, maybe it's time to reflect on how you're communicating to that professional. I'm sorry to say, but as a hair professional, I've encountered many, many situations and appointments where the client was a little bit off and they weren't really, that honest, but they didn't communicate well. I'll never forget this one time, this is a little story time here, is I used to work for L'Oreal many, many years ago, L'Oreal Professional, and I used to teach hair coloring, right? My first big gig when I was 21 years old, in a suit, working for L'Oreal, representing one of the biggest beauty companies in the world, and I used to have to go into salons and teach other professionals about hair coloring, about L'Oreal's products, and it was a really phenomenal experience. That's where I learned a lot about the art of communication and presenting and things like that. Well, I was working in a salon at the same time too, because I would book classes on Sundays or Mondays, and then I'd work at the salon throughout the rest of the week. There was one time where someone came in and it was I think it was the owner's mom, no, it was the owner's client, not mother, the owner's client. She was a really, really sweet woman. And I said, they wanted me to do a hair color makeover on this woman. She actually had a hairstyle similar to this, believe it or not, maybe a little bit longer. I said, you know what, in all honesty, if you want me to create a new hair color for her, I am seeing auburn. I'm seeing a richer auburn type of color. I think right now her color's a little too faded. It's kind of aging her a bit. So I want to do something a bit more of a richer auburn. And I think that's going to look incredible. I showed her the color swatch. And I said, just so you know, this is going to be a red color, auburn. It's gonna be pretty vibrant. It's gonna look beautiful on you. You're gonna love it. Okay, sure. I did the color, and when we washed it out, the client was like, why is my hair red? Why is my hair red? I go, are you kidding me? And then the owner came over, oh, what'd you do to my client? It was like a disaster. I go, wait, don't put this on me. We actually had a great consultation. I told her what I was doing. I showed the color swatch, the exact color. And I said, this is what we're going for. And she was like, okay, I love it. Because of the owner coming in and making the client feel uncomfortable and siding with the client, they both turned on me. And I'm like, dude, this is ridiculous. Like, I showed her, I told you, you agreed to this. Why are you putting it on me? And second of all, like, this looks 10 times better than what you had before anyway. So, So sometimes it comes down to communication. Like, you have to make sure that you are fully committed and you and the stylist are on the same page before you get any sort of, haircut or whatever it is. So if you are looking to get this haircut, let me know in the comments below. Have you had great experiences? Maybe share with other viewers, what have you said to achieve this haircut? And I know I gave you a lot of information, helpful information, and I really hope you all got a lot out of this because I want you to get good haircuts too. So please like the video and don't forget to subscribe. I want to hear your comments below. If you want to purchase any of my hair products and tools, shop.thesalonguy.com and use code YouTube20. YouTube20, shop.thesalonguy.com. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.